I've got a very exciting video for you today. How can you skyrocket your business on Amazon in the UAE? How can you secure additional funding even if you are a new seller, even if you are a reseller and don't have your own private label brand? All the information in this video. Are you ready? Let's get to work. Now you might be thinking, why do I need more capital for my Amazon store in the UAE? I'm already selling on Amazon and I'm fine. There are a lot of reasons why you want to think about exponentially growing your brand on Amazon and your store on Amazon, even if you don't have a brand. And I'm going to break them down into two main reasons. Reason number one, more stock equals rapid and faster growth, especially on a marketplace in the UAE. In the UAE, because the marketplace serves a much smaller quantity of people, the fact that Amazon in the UAE only serves about 9 million people versus how big Amazon.com is, you need to think in a different strategy. You want to diversify the quantity of products and the quality of products even that you are selling on Amazon so that you can take a much bigger market cap. Because Amazon UAE serves a much smaller audience, you need to make sure that you are selling in very diverse categories on Amazon. And in order to do that, you need more capital. In order to secure more capital, this is the video for you. Reason number two is aggregators. In the past, in about 2019, beginning of 2020, we saw a rise in Amazon FBA aggregators such as Thrasio, most notably, who have secured massive amounts of funding and have already spent so much money acquiring Amazon businesses, as well as a local company called Opontia, which we featured on our channel a few months ago, and I'll leave the video linked in the description box below. So you can develop your brand on Amazon into something that a company is willing to acquire and give you a very handsome cash out for. So if you're thinking of doing all of that, then you require funding. In this video, you're gonna meet the co-founders of Funder. Deepak and Danesh are the co-founders of Funder, and they can help you secure additional funding for your Amazon store based in the UAE. Again, even if you are a new seller, even if you are a reseller and you don't have a private label brand for you, you can acquire additional funding. Let's hear from them exactly how, why, and when you can do all of that. So Deepak, if I was somebody with my own e-commerce store, or even an Amazon store, better yet, an Amazon store and a Noon store, at what point do you think someone should get financing? At what point in their journey, and why would they require additional financing?
Right. So if you have seen the market in the last 5 years, especially in the GCC, there's been a phenomenal growth in e-commerce across all platforms, whether it's Amazon or Noon or any of the other new emerging e-commerce platforms. We have seen sellers increase their sales by 50% month on month. Now, when this happens and when there's a lot of people taking interest in online platforms to do their sales, there's a lot of competition that's increasing. And the sellers now need a way to ensure that their supply of goods is ensured. And there are three ways that sellers have to look towards in terms of growing their business. There are three major growth levers. One of them is ensuring that the inventory is safe or inventory is stable. This means that they shouldn't go out of stock at any point in time. And this has been one of the major problems for e-commerce platforms when customers face that, I click on product, but it's out of stock. So they really don't want to get into that situation. And the second aspect is about expanding their catalogs. Sellers today, because of the heightened competition, they don't want to be a single SKU product. They want to expand their catalog into different SKUs, into different categories. And to do that, they need the capital to enable that to happen, to seek out more brands or more products, or even build their own private label brands. So for that, additional financing is also required. And the third most important part is marketing. whether they are marketing on Amazon or Noon or trying to push themselves in the social media platforms to showcase that they are available in different e-commerce platforms for sale, they need to have capital to do that. And the only way they can do is seeking out additional capital financing, because to a large number of smaller sellers, they tend to max out their capital very soon, as soon as they get it. So additional financing will help them buffer that growth and ensure that they can keep growing. In addition to this, they can also take care of their crunch time situations, which is paying their credit card bills, or paying their delivery guys, or paying their employees, even especially during the COVID times where they feel severe strain to do that. So these are the major aspects that that sellers have to see to try and find out additional financing for.
But over to you, Danush, because I think also additionally, a lot of people shy away from reaching out to, or probably don't even know that there are alternative fintech providers such as yourself that can provide financing. And their first target is, or their first port of call whenever they require financing, is to ask people that they know, maybe somebody who's willing to invest in this business, friends, family, even max out their credit cards. So what would be, what is the pros and cons basically of going the traditional route of getting some additional financing for your e-commerce business versus a fintech solution provider such as a funder?
So I'll spot on with the usual mechanism of how people start off, but let's go as evaluate each option you listed out.
Yeah.
Banks, starting off with banks and financial institutions, they are, they are large institutions. They have a proper governance structure. So what they look at is, do you have enough collateral? They look at your balance sheet strength, your ownership structure, your KYC. There's a lot of information that they look for, and they look for you to give additional collateral to them for them to give you access to financing. So the barriers to entry to get a bank loan is very high. And a lot of sellers may not even be able to access this. And even if they do, they would have a fixed repayment schedule on their loans. So, and that may not tie into the business needs of the seller, of the merchant. So it's not bespoke, it's not custom fit for an e-commerce business. Second, the second choice would be, people may even look for credit card options. The credit card interest rates are exorbitant, and that's not a sustainable way of growing your business, and it's not encouraged by any finance professional. The third is obviously friends and family. I mean, they're definitely your first go-to point for initial requirements, and that's absolutely fine at the initial stage when you're setting up. However, Funder as a solution is looking to provide sellers with a sustainable way of growing their business, which is bespoke for e-commerce sellers. So, and here we don't really look, and banks may look for, are you a reseller? What type of seller are you? What type of products do you have? Do you have trademarks? We just look at your seller account. What's the health of that seller account? What's your turnover there? How actively have you been selling? What are your reviews you have in that seller account? So we look at the health of the seller account, and
regardless of what you're selling. That's
absolutely, absolutely. So I think that's the other thing. And finally, as a pro, what we're looking to do is we match your business needs. So we don't provide you financing when you don't need it. We provide it when you need it, and we get repaid when the customer pays. So it's completely harmonious with the requirements of your business.
Perfect. I'm sure everybody's super excited, and people who are looking to finance their this journey and expand, I'm sure there's a lot of them. And for anyone who's watching us, probably by now they're thinking, okay, so what are the requirements for me to get financing? But before we jump into that, I'm very intrigued and interested to find out when and why you set up Funder and how long you've been operating. And then we'll jump into the details of how can somebody get financing, what is the mechanism, how do they repay? Obviously, we're gonna just talk about it in general, because I know there's a lot of, it depends on the customer and it depends on the person reaching out to you. And I do want everyone to reach out to you to find out if they are currently eligible to get financing. Maybe they don't need it, but if they are or aren't eligible, they can discover a little bit more what they can do in order to improve their account health. But let's get into, how and why and how long you've been operating Funder.
Right. So just to take a step back into our history, I met Dhanush in Abu Dhabi way back in 2018 while playing badminton. So that's how we first met.
It's a really healthy relationship. Yeah.
So yeah, and so during the course of time, we became good friends, and Dhanush was with private equity, I was with a strategy in a tech company. I moved on to an e-commerce giant in KSA, and there we could see, we had discussions, and we could see that e-commerce sellers are facing a lot of pain points. And one way to really unlock that pain point was to actually get them the cash sooner than later. And just by doing that simple process, it's actually the smart sellers are able to rotate the cash much faster and enable that growth within a month by 3 to 5 times. So we thought that some of these guys are doing it. Why shouldn't this be sort of a best practice in the industry itself? Why not this be a solution that everyone can give, everyone can get? Banks do have one traditional mode of solution called factoring, but they always look at the balance sheet.
Yeah.
So this doesn't go to the e-commerce sellers, and they don't know how the e-commerce functions the way Dhanush had mentioned before. So we thought by digitally integrating with all these platforms, we can take the risk on the buyer rather than the seller, and ensure that the sellers are more optimized in their business needs and through the cash flow. So that's how our idea got generated. We had this discussion during the early part of 2020 when the COVID crisis was just starting on, and then we realized this is probably the best time to get into the market because people will need us.
There's a big need for it as well. Yeah, of course.
So the first 6 months, we worked hard on the product, and we are probably UAE's only digital financing solution on a mobile app for SMEs, focused on SMEs. So, and the first 6 months, we sort of really focused on, developing the app, making sure the integrations are right, whether, we are able to reflect the right amount, and we are able to track the payment cycles, more importantly, on the right way. When we launched, since we launched commercially in early Jan, till now, this is a period of 5 months. Very short time. We haven't really pushed ourselves in the market, but within the short time of 5 months, we have actually advanced close to 6.5 million dirhams in the market. So it's a pretty short time with a really low reach out. We have reached out to about 100 odd sellers, and been able to expand quite fast into in terms of giving out the advances, because the moment they get a taste of our solution, they want to keep doing it, and becomes a very sticky solution for them. So they're growing it with time.
I'd like to just add to that point. So the one of the vision that we had was we wanted to make sure and enable growth. And as a solution, that's what we had. That's what we envisioned, and that was our mission to enable growth for sellers. We actually realized that, and the first time we saw it, so as Deepak mentioned, we launched in Jan. Our first customer was doing about 700,000 dirhams worth of sales in a month. By April, he was doing 1.5 million dirhams of sales. And we powered the solution. And for us, it translated from a theoretical or concept of our solution being able to unlock it to actually realizing it. And to be honest, that was super and rewarding feeling, and very, very joyous moment for all of us at Funder.
It's actually fantastic what you just said, because I'm sure most people would think, well, if I'm generating 700,000 dirhams in revenue a month, why would I need financing? So what would you say to that? Because you need financing anywhere, actually.
It's a myopia if you think that it's short-sightedness. I'm doing 700,000. Yes, but as Deepak mentioned, this market's growing. It's growing we're at a wave, and you have to try and use all your resources that you have to really emerge, and you can emerge in a much more compelling and in a strong manner. And what we provide is not, also an important distinction. is not really a loan of sorts. We provide an early payment solution. So by accelerating your working capital, what you can do is invest in products as in inventory, catalogs, marketing activities, and increase your sales. So you're not adding any financial burden in yourself, but we're enabling this growth that's actually helped one of our first sellers double his sales in 3 months.
Now, before we continue with this interview, if this is your first time watching a video on this channel, hi, my name is Crystal and I'm the founder of Amazon Sellers Society, and we help entrepreneurs, brands, and businesses set up their store on Amazon and sell successfully on Amazon in the Middle East. If you want to learn a little bit more how we can help you do just that, just log into our website, www.assmiddleeast.org. Make sure that you like this video, you are subscribed to the channel, and you hit the notification bell, as well as leave me a comment in the comment section below what type of information you are looking for and what type of information you'd like me to feature on the channel that can help you better build your business. Okay, now let's get into the really important things. We're gonna, again, talk about them generally, but I want people to contact you to get more clarity into it. How do I contact you? How do I figure out if I'm eligible to even get financing? And what are your, what terms are you basically looking for? What do you mean by good account health and all of that we just touched base on?
So for us, anyone who's doing even 1,000 dirham per day sales can approach us. As long as he's willing to give us the required KYC standards and the integration with his account, we can onboard him within 24 hours. A funder account can get created for you. So the moment we are able to pull...
Repeat that, just 1,000 dirhams in sales. That's fine.
Yes, 1,000 dirhams per day.
You don't need to
1,000 dirhams per day.
Yeah, per day.
1,000 dirhams per day. If you are able to do it, then we'll be able to finance you. All you need to do is give us the access to your digital accounts. We'll ask for certain user permissions to be granted. Once that's done, we will look at your risk profile, and based on that, we will decide the limit and the pricing for you. And once that's done, and the onboarding is completed, on the same day or within 24 hours, the first tranche of request that you raise for an advance can hit your bank. So you don't need to wait for a very long time. We have onboarded customers in 2 days as well and started their transaction. So it's a pretty fast process, and this is what we want to bring about in terms of convenience. We don't want to be overburdening you in this digital age with a lot of documentations and so on. We want to be quick, fast, and simple for gaining access to your cash.
What security measures have you put in place to make sure that everything is going, because with these things and with money, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how are you governed and stuff like that?
So we are regulated under the ADGM FSRA. We are in process of getting our PFP license. What we do in terms of the risk assessment profile is that we look at a few aspects on your profile, whether it's sales, whether it's repayments, whether it's return rates. Based on this, we don't, and against your sales, your monthly daily sales, for example, is 1,000, there is a certain limit that we'll give against that 1,000.
Yes.
So against 1,000, it will be 900 or 800, depending on, how your return rates look like. So based on that, you will get a certain value. And your pricing is also determined by the risk. So if you are having higher rates of returns from your customers, or your customer rating is low, then your our pricing will be slightly higher than normal.
Yeah.
So all those will depend on how your performance has been on these platforms. So in the event, if there's a case of sort of default, which is basically we have given you, let's say, 10,000 dirhams, and Amazon pays back only 5,000. As long as you're continuing to do your business and you're trying to push your business in the market, we will collect it from Amazon or the corresponding commerce. We won't try and collect it from you. So that's what we mean by, you don't have to worry about repayments. We will take it from the buyer ecosystem. However, in case you decide to shut shop, we do take an undated security check up to the limit. So this is the only security that we take. We don't take collaterals against your inventory at this stage. We only take the security check. the undated security check up to the amount of limit that we provide. And that's about it to get your onboarding process started.
Yeah.
And that's where we are as flexible as your family and friends, and as
Maybe a little bit
professional as the
more,
banks.
but yeah.
A little bit more. And as the professional as the banks. So we can provide you capital at scale and be as friendly and convenient and flexible to your needs at any point in time. So that's how I like to close it with Funder.ai. That's who we are. Instant cash, consistent cash flow.
Thanks so much for Deepak and Dinesh for this interview. If you want to contact Funder, you'll find all the information to contact them in the description box below of this video. You'll also be able to contact them and find out if you are eligible to get funding for your business. I wish you all the luck, and I'll see you in another video with more information. Bye.